Hey everybody, it's Starjump. I'm doing an audio check. Let me know if you can hear me 5 by 5. Nice to see everyone in chat this morning. All right, 5 by 5. Let's click over and get this started. All right. Hello everybody. GearCon just cheered with 100 bits. I appreciate that, GearCon. Thank you very much. That is very appreciated. Salute to you. Hope you are doing well. I notice I've got my OCD. I got some little thing on me. Okay. Anybody. Hey everybody. Hope you're doing great. Let me fix a few windows here. Hope you're all having a great Thursday. Getting a nice little crowd built up here. And Twitch and YouTube, obviously doing the dual stream via restream. Hopefully that's still working out good. Let me know if any of you see any issues with that. Generally, it's been holding up pretty good though, so I'm hoping it continues to do that. Ever since Twitch changed their policy on that, it's something I've wanted to utilize more because we have such a great, big, large, awesome YouTube community, and I am not doing as many pre-recorded videos for YouTube anymore. However, kind of top of line announcement, I did want to announce that I am working on a new pre-recorded Starjump Shipyard. More on that soon. It'll be on the Genesis Starliner. I had a lot of requests for that. Sorry about sneezed. Had a lot of requests for the Genesis Starliner. I'll tell you right now, it requires an abnormal amount of work to do that video. It's going to be on par with the Endeavor Shipyard episode, or possibly even the Kraken one. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, the Starliner's model is probably the worst one on the RSI website. So it needs a lot of work, but we're going to get to it. We're going to do a reconcept of it, like a fan-made reconcept of it, the whole deal. So that being said, we're going to talk about a few things today. I am going to hop over in the stream chat here in a minute. I believe Ender may join us for some of this discussion, which is great because we're going to talk about a few things related to Star Citizen. We also may jump in the game and take a look at one thing in particular that is new. I do want to talk a little bit about Supply or Die and then the upcoming events that seem to be coming with 4.1. That being said, though, let's go ahead and jump into a few top of show boilerplate announcements. So first one, I'm going to go ahead and bring that up because I just realized I didn't have it ready. I'm going to switch over here. First one, do not forget, everyone, that Quantum Vegas 2955 is on July 12th, 2025. If that is something you're interested in, it's going to be a big Bar Citizen style event in Las Vegas at a really cool event. There are going to be people from CIG there. You can buy tickets. To give you an idea who's going to be there from CIG, we're going to have Sean Tracy, the Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content. Oh, Brett Lee 67 just subscribed for 10 months in a row. Giving you the quadruple salute there, Brettley. Thanks for that support. Really appreciate you. You just cued the double salute emote. Very proud of that. But regardless, you're going to have Sean Tracy, Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content at Cloud Imperium Games. You're going to have Xylo, Tyler Witkin, and of course Galactica all there at the event. There may be other developers there too. We don't know yet. It's still being confirmed. But obviously, I should be there as not only running a panel, but also a moderator, I believe. And then some other great people too. We're going to have Paul Shelley from the Astropub. I was on my first episode of Captain Stable with him. It's out now on his channel, on his podcast channel, Captain Stable on YouTube. Go check that out. I talk about some PvE, PvP stuff. We have Kim Ellis and Nate Ellis of EE Studios. So you definitely make great machinima. You're going to want to check that stuff out. Panzer, thanks for the subscription. Double salute for you. Let me kick off that email. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Panzer, with that subscription. And then obviously we have Serious Fun acting as a moderator, Paul Shelley acting as a moderator, a host of Soul Citizens. I'm thinking that Ender will be out there too. We got to get a lot of that worked out. I'm touching base with this with the Quantum crew this week, and I'm supposed to get a lot more info, some more on that. But anyways, yeah, Quantum Vegas got a lot of great sponsors. Very excited for it. More on that coming up soon. It's kind of been moving up, moving at its own pace, and I really kind of need to catch up. So. That being said, I'm going to switch over to Stream Chat real quick. Senior Citizen, thank you for that follow. Sending the javelin overhead. Appreciate you. And I'm in Stream Chat. How are you, Ender? How are you?
Living and breathing the dream, bud.
I don't know why, but when your initial breath there that you just made almost sounded like crying. I thought you were going to burst into tears when I see you.
I'm just so happy you're here.
And this was just going to be one of those shows that was all about reflection and stuff.
No.
Talked about Quantum. Next thing I wanted to talk about though is St. Jude. St. Jude coming up April, May. St. Jude Play Live, I guess to be more specific, coming up in April and May. Obviously, Starjump Guardians. Starjump is going to be a big part of that this year, as Ender does every year. But this year we'll be doing it on both channels, both platforms. I'll be involved. We got a great 2 months planned, don't we, Ender?
We do. Technically, so for clarity for everyone, technically, Play Live is May through like all of May.
All of May.
But you can run it April and May, and I like to.
Yeah. Did we lose you? May lost him. Don't know what happened in there. I'll continue with what he was saying though. But they're allowed to run it in April, I think, as well. So again, it'll start April 1st for us. We do sort of have a full calendar, full schedule. We are going to be posting that very soon. I know there's several of you that are interested in knowing what the Starjump. Yep, no worries. I know there's some of you out there that are waiting to see what the Starjump plan is for this. We do have one. We have worked on a schedule. We know what raffle prizes are coming and when. We've got our shows mostly figured out. I think it's going to be a pretty content-rich April and May.
Yes.
So
it will.
Don't worry, there's still time. It's April 13th. And I imagine we'll publish some stuff within a week or week and a half that kind of gives our plan.
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely gonna be doing quite a bit. There's gonna be Star Citizen centric stuff, and we're gonna be doing some
a lot of
fun
other stuff too.
Party game nights and just gaming together nights.
And the good thing is
lots of stuff.
And the good thing is, playing Star Citizen can sometimes be problematic, especially for Ender right now. But the good news is, in terms of Star Citizen-centric stuff, we're still going to have our normal content. And we still really have 3 big pieces of Starjump or Star Citizen-related content every week. We'll especially 2. We'll have Starjump Station on Fridays, and we'll have Starjump Shipyard on Tuesdays. Those will continue. They'll be St. Jude themed. They'll be heavily involved. But then we're also going to be doing Fleet Builders episodes on Ender's channel,
I got to get back to doing those regularly.
So we're still going to be plenty of Star Citizen content, but we will have a lot of other streams too that focus on us just playing party games, and that may not be super Star Citizen focused, but it will still be really important for you all to hang out with us and whatnot. But again, we will be posting some stuff probably next week, I would imagine, related to our schedule and stuff like that. And I think the reason you'll start hearing about it next week is that on Wednesday night, we are slated to be guests on the Yacht Club, where we'll talk further about this, and you may see us on other shows. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just Ender, however it works out, but you'll start hearing us a little bit more out there talking about it. The reason we didn't want to get ahead of ourselves right now is, again, we're both very busy in our personal lives. It's taken us some time to plan it, but I think we're in a really good place. I imagine you would agree, Ender.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think it's going to be a very successful Play Live this year.
And just to confirm, Lady Space Patrol, neither one of us works for CIG, so we don't know where ISC is.
Yeah,
just
I unfortunately
confirming we don't work for CIG.
Kavotha just says it just dropped on the YouTube, which is good because we may watch it. We'll see. That being said, I wanted to say one other thing about St. Jude, and that is if you have anything you're interested or that you were going to donate or were willing to donate for prizes, so for example, ship or paint or something,
Mhm.
that is great. I think, and not to speak for Ender on this, I think we're good. I think we would prefer people
Yes,
just to hang on to your money and donate when the Tiltify link is available April 1st.
yes. We are set on ships right now. If
Yeah.
you are looking to help with the charity stuff at this point, honestly, hold on to what you've got. Help by donating to
Yeah.
the charity itself now.
And if
There will be a Tiltify link and a QR code, and that's what we would love for you to
yeah,
put everything
and if
towards
you
now.
have a ship sitting in your hangar, hang on to it because Ender generally does stuff in November too, for charity. And again, it may be a thing where this year I'm teaming up with him to hit that on both platforms. And at that point, we'll need stuff too. So hang on to it, and we'll definitely be able to utilize it later in the year. Um, but again, it's pretty exciting. We do have a 9 minute long Inside Star Citizen on performance capture. We may get to that towards the end of this episode. We can all watch it together. One thing we'll say is performance capture is something I know quite a bit about. I've done a lot of it in my work, and I do have a friend who is the head of all performance capture for Rockstar Games, friend Corey. So it's something I've always kind of had an interest in and a little bit of an eye towards. So it'll be an interesting one, but I don't think it's going to have any like serious game related stuff. Although they could throw us a little Easter egg visual in there. Let's see. I want to go over a few things here. The first one is, let me switch over, and Ender, feel free to chime in on any of this stuff. We do still have supply or die in effect. But even before that, the previous event, Fight for Pyro, is still ongoing in the game, but will end at the end of March. They have confirmed this. So if you have not completed the Fight for Pyro, which are the taking of the outposts or what have you, to get the paint packs for the 4 ships, that will end at the end of March. So you don't have long on that one. It has gotten a lot more stable to do those, I will say. So if you were really frustrated in months before, it's gotten a lot more playable. That being said, Supply or Die is currently going on. You can see from
Graham,
the
I'm
R
going to have
site.
to go for
Yep.
about 25
Yeah,
minutes. I
do what you
just
got to
had
do, buddy.
something pop up with work.
Do
I
what you
will
got to
pop
do.
back in
I'll
though.
be right here.
Hey, bud.
Supply or Die still going on again. Get in there while you can. They've hinted that it will end at the end of this month. I really hope they extend this one because there have been a lot of issues. However, the Supply or Die event to me has really highlighted something that I hope CIG can figure a way around, and that is the artificial manipulation of commodity quantities in service of an event. It's quite obvious they've nerfed salvage panels and severely limited certain commodities and stuff at certain choke point locations to service this event. I really wish they'd get away from that and just let people figure out the best ways to do the event. Even if one way is just way better than the other ways, if people sort of cheese it, I think that's okay. Because in the future, the more manipulation they do of commodities, resourcing, and stuff like that, and farming, the more it just feels video gamey, in that all the facade of this being a systemic world is being ultimately manipulated just for events. So personally, I hope they get away from that. If you've tried to buy tin or pressurized ice in the last few weeks, you will surely know that it's gotten a bit ridiculous. So I do hope CIG looks for more ways to make these events a little bit more organically tie in to the systemic nature that the game currently is, without so much knob turning that has to happen in order to people to participate. Yeah, and I agree, Wolf. It's what they've really done through that manipulation is force PvP to really be the fastest value return in terms of integrating yourself in the event. Again, it's Supplier die was an improvement on past ones in that they gave non-combat people a way to participate, but it's still not totally good in my opinion, and that's primarily because the knob manipulation going on with those commodities, with those resources and stuff. I think they can do away with that. Also, CIG, please stop choke pointing things to one or two stations. We have this huge universe to explore. Make it a ton of different places you can go get stuff. Also, existing kiosks are bugged. So, for example, you can go to a Platinum Bay on the Pyro Jump Point or something, and they'll have 1.5 million worth of pressurized ice there, or 10 or whatever, but you can't buy it, and it errors out every time. Again, they're doing it. It's getting better, but it's still a little rough in my opinion. I personally hope that by the time we get towards the end of this year, that this has been a good learning experience for the mission team and that they learn how to do events that, and this is a hard ask, do not get me wrong, but hopefully they'll learn how to do events that are a little bit more tailored to everyone, that have multiple points of entry, multiple points of reward. Again, supplier die is an improvement. It is an improvement. So, Lady Space Patrol says, good news. Rayari Collection Mission is probably the first of the Academy of Science Guild contracts. Bad news, Rayari Collection Missions quickly turned into Force PvP Hathor. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. That's a great point. Again, I feel like CIG right now almost feels a well, I don't know the reason for it, but every event, even event that has non-combat lanes to get in, still exists within an overall versus type thing. I've said this many times. I've said this many, many times. And VMXEO, you're kind of tying into it there, but I've said many times that CIG needs to do more of a war effort type event. Maybe that lasts for a year or 6 months or whatever, more of a longer term event where players are contributing to the war effort through everything they do. Just doing the regular salvage mission, a regular mining thing, not even a mission, just out there mining. Everything you're doing, you can earn money and you can even put money towards the war effort. Putting money towards a war effort gets you credits back. Okay. Submitting commodities or resources or participating in combat, calling cargo, all that has a war effort stipend tax on it. So the more things you do, and again, it applies to everything. Literally everything you can do in the game will get some sort of credit bonus towards the war effort. That way, everyone can contribute, even the people literally logging onto the game just to run some boxes. That's it. Okay. Very simple. Other MMOs have done this. World of Warcraft has done this successfully many times. I highly suggest CIG mission makers look at other MMOs like that for how they do things. It's a great way to do big events. And then your level of involvement is sort of up to you, right? Yeah, VM, I think those are really cool. I want to check them out. I haven't played any of them yet. So, next thing I wanted to talk about is St. Patrick's Day. So Stella Fortuna is currently live in the verse. Couple surprises this year with this one. Obviously, there are the Fortuna paints. These are the sort of metallic, dark green metallic Fortuna paints with several ships, including a new one. I think we'll get to that. They have some racing packs. I think these were sort of the new, this was the new thing for this Stella Fortuna, and something that was kind of cool. I think it does tie into Stella Fortuna too, just because obviously if you win, you're the lucky one. There's a little bit of a connection there. So we'll talk about these a little bit. I think they're pretty interesting and one of the more interesting parts of Stella Fortuna. They talk a little bit about the community bar crawl and all that, but let's get to the paints and the packs here. Obviously, you can buy paints for the Mustang, the Pulse, and the Archimedes. I think these are all new this year, if I'm not mistaken. Then there's the Fury, Razor, and Vanguard paints, as well as the 400i, Mercury, Hercules, and Redeemer, and 600i. And the Hammerhead. So quite a few Fortuna paints. They're really like, it kind of shows you how long they've been going at this event. Yeah, they're interesting. You can get the whole 12 paint pack for $86. They're interesting, but they're not interesting enough for me to want them. I would much prefer if the green was just not metallic dark green, but something a little special, had some sort of pattern or something, and I think that would be a lot more interesting. And they could just do the same pattern every year, just apply it to new ships, so that you could eventually build up this unique Stella Fortuna paint collection. Um, I do say it's a really nice dark green though. I do really like the color. I think on these sold paints, they need to do something a little bit special, in my opinion. Thanks for that follow, Squared Down. Thank you very much. Give you the salute. Thank you for all the support, everyone. If you haven't followed the channel, please do. Also, if you haven't followed us over on Twitter or X, please do that as well, as a lot of Starjump news comes out over there. So make sure you go to that link and follow us there. And of course, if you're on Twitch and you haven't been to our YouTube, please go over there. Give us a subscribe, a thumbs up, watch some of our content. We have a ton of content over there. And then for those of you on YouTube, of course, if you never go to Twitch, but let's say you have a Twitch account, could still use your follow. Again, that does go into the algorithm, so could still use that follow. Please give the channel some love. Appreciate you. All right. So Stella Fortuna paints, there they are. If you like dark green, they're dark green paints. Next, we do have the Headhunters Fortuna gear pack. Again, this is that armor set that just came out for the Headhunters group. It's got the Windfall jacket, the Windfall pants, the helmet, and the Luckbringer sniper rifle. Pretty cool. Oh, and an undersuit as well. Not really for me, but it may apply to some people. We have the Avenger starter pack. They are doing a lot more of these Avenger starter packs, which is cool. This one includes the sniper rifle as before, 20,000 UEC. Again, pretty good. 6 months insurance. Obviously, it comes with the Avenger Titan. Really good ship, really good starter ship. I do think it's going to get a general rework, but obviously to be brought up to gold standard, I think the entire Avenger series needs it. But it's a really solid starter ship, and one that I still generally recommend. I still think the Cutter is probably my favorite of the starters. Probably. The Intrepid's catching up, but the Avenger's a really solid one. There's the Fortuna Legends pack. $440. This includes the Constellation Phoenix Emerald. Again, a really good way to get a Phoenix if you've wanted one. The Ursa Rover Fortuna, the P-72 Archimedes Emerald, and the Cyclone MT. All those ships come with the green paint. But again, it is limited stock, but it's a good way to try to snag a Connie Phoenix if you've been wanting one. And that's the war bond price of $440. You can do the non-war bond for $495. They also have some crazy concierge packs here. Fortuna Ultimate Party Pack, and both in War Bond and Credit for over $3,000. Again, it gets you all the ships. That includes the C2, includes the Hammerhead, includes the Phoenix, includes the 600i. Again, it's the whole pack, 400i, all that. It's all the ships, everything you saw in those above paint packs and ships, all in one pack. I wouldn't get this. Again, I shy away from the packs in general. I don't recommend you doing them. It makes breaking things up harder. I have found that generally, instead of buying packs, I'll just buy the ships individual and then melt them into buyback. You do spend a little bit more, but it actually ends up giving you more flexibility in the end. So that extra $10 or $15 that you spent buying the ships individual versus buying a pack, it gives you massive flexibility in the long run, and I actually think saves you money in the long run. Some people may disagree, but I think it's a very real thing. I've learned this the hard way myself too. I've bought packs that have been like, ah, damn it, that was a mistake. Had to melt them, rebuy the ships individually, etc. Lady Space Patrol says there's not a referral bonus for this event. You know, that's a good point. I hadn't picked up on that. That is a good point. Yeah, there's no referral bonus. Yeah. Continuing on, Fortuna Gear and Packs again. They have, I talked about those. Subscriber gear, they're just re-advertising the subscriber gear that came out. What was it, a week or two ago? That is that Headhunters gear pack. The big winter shirt. Kind of on this on the shirts are kind of a little weak to me. Personally, I feel like they could just give shirts and stuff out free to players every month as a uh, to be generous. Kind of crazy. $2 for a shirt in game when you very rarely wear them. It just doesn't make sense. Hazardous cargo chair. Again, kind of the weakest of these. I know it's kind of furniture that celebrates the Tetratine or whatever it's called resource. I think it's the same kind of box, but doesn't really apply to me. And then that Headhunter armor. And then they show some of the mugs and green weapons and stuff from years past. So there you go. Now let's get to the most interesting one of the bunch, and I think this one is the one that most people are paying attention to. It's the racing ships and gear packs. Okay. First one is the big one. That is the Star Kitten Pulse and Star Kitten Racing Suit pack for $40. Most people are going to be very interested in this because they very rarely do the Star Kitten stuff. I think the last one was almost 10 years ago. Hey, Papa Juggernaut, salute to you. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in the chat and hanging out a little bit. I sincerely hope you're doing well, buddy. But the Star Kitten stuff, last time we saw that was about 10 years ago with the Dragonfly. I really wish I had a Dragonfly Star Kitten. Was not able to snag one of those. I really do want one, but we'll see. But now's your chance to do one for the Pulse. The Pulse is a pretty cool little vehicle. I did pick one of these up. I thought we might go in game and look at it here in a minute, maybe. Also, and this is the one that honestly, if you're going to get, to me, this is the one probably the most, I think this will be the most elusive. Maybe they'll sell this one constantly, but if they take the same tact as they did with the previous Star Kitten one, once this one's gone, it's gone. They haven't mentioned anything about that, but we'll see. We also have the Murray Cup Archimedes, which is really cool. I actually love the paint job on this one, and the Murray Cup Mustang Gamma set. Now, one thing I'll say about these is I love these paint jobs. To me, if CIG is going to sell paints for ships, like sell paint liveries, this is the type of liveries they need to sell. Stuff that's not just a color change, but that's actually got pattern work. And, in the case of the Murray Cup ships, there's pattern work with the diagonal lines placed in there, which are kind of interesting. With the Star Kitten one, it's got a lot of decals on it. Again, I think that paid ship stuff should be, something that is something that they strive for when doing paid paints. Ivy over on YouTube says, have you seen the new leaks from 4.1 on the Idris? There's now a proper Idris P without the railgun and the mount, but with new cargo room and instead. Yes, I have. We covered that on my last stream. I think we covered that on Tuesday, Ivy, on my shipyard stream. That's every Tuesday at 11. You should be able to go back and watch the VOD for that on YouTube. But I did cover that. Also showed off video of the missile room in the Idris and talked about a few other little Idris changes. It's got its front nose turret finally added as an entity, and a few other changes, on top of all the exterior changes that the Idris looks like it's getting. I really do hope we get an all ship or a ship talk from John Kruger Ben Curtis on this soon. I think it's something that we are going to get in the verse. So I do, as in the PU, not just Squadron. So I do hope they come back with a talk on that soon. We also got the Razor Racing set. Really cool. I thought they did a good job on this one. The paint job is really cool. Again, these are, if you want to buy a unique variant of one of these ships, these are really cool packs to get. Again, you're getting, I think, what's going to be kind of a rarer paint, and I believe they're only, am I wrong? Are they only War Bond? Oh no, you can buy the paint separate. Okay, you can buy the paint separate. There you go. There you go. Cool. Like I said, the paints are really cool and almost worth it in and of itself. Another one they have here is these prestige jackets for the Murray Cup, the Origin jacket. Those are really cool. And then this kind of Origin racing suit, which has been popping up in a lot of conversations lately. The Origin racing suit. Can someone in chat remind me what pack was the Origin racing suit originally included with? Was it like a 100 series ship or 300 series ship that they were including that? The 350R, Lazy says. 325R, 350R, one of those. Okay. The light speed pack. Okay. So apparently the Origin racing suit was included in a previous pack. Um, it wasn't out yet, so a lot of players have been asking CIG, is this the racing suit that we get included? I'll be honest with you, I think it probably is. CIG, again, remember, there's so much backlog stuff. I think they just forget a lot of times. So all people need to do is respectfully voice that, hey, is this the one we're getting? Just respectfully voice that. CIG will pick up on it. And honestly, if they feel like this is the one that those players should get, I have no doubt they will award it to those players. I also think it's possible they could take this and do a slight recolor on it and then reward that one to the people that got the Lightspeed pack. Fiver Olympus says, but why isn't the Star Kitten pack LTI? You know, it's a great question. I am not sure. Oh, Rage. Back of Rage 1 did a stretch. Thank you, Rage. Oh, I gotta get myself cracked out here. Thank you very much. And thank you for the follows, everyone. Squared down. Why is my... Oops. Bear with me, everybody. I have a slight issue. Here. My mouse is being crappy. One second. Okay, now we're fixed. Thank you for those that have followed today. I really appreciate it. Panzerworth Prime 27 minutes ago. Senior Critizen followed me 26 minutes ago. Thank you very much, Senior. Appreciate you. And then, of course, Squared Down followed 11 minutes ago. I'm not sure why I didn't get the alert for that. Did that alert pop up? Did I miss that or did I say it? Either way, Squared Down, thank you very much for that follow. I appreciate you. So yes, there it is. We do have a Warbond CCU upgrade for the Aegis Redeemer and a Warbond CCU upgrade for the Aegis Hammerhead. The Hammerhead one is interesting to me. Again, I think the Hammerhead is one of those ships that I think right now is a really difficult purchase because it has a very high crew count, and if you do not have that number of crew on board, the ship really starts getting hit hard in terms of its effectiveness and its lethality, right? It really needs to have its full crew complement. And with resource management and stuff coming online down the road, it needs even more of a crew complement to be effective because it's going to be right up in it with fighters. It's going to be taking a lot of damage, so it's going to need a lot of continuous resource management and engineering work to be repaired in flight. And then you need all those people for the turrets. I'll tell you when the story changes for this ship, though. The narrative around the Hammerhead will change drastically when we get computer blades and AI blades in Star Citizen. I really do think one of the first AI blades we get will be turret support. So if you're flying a Scorpius, you'll be able to have an AI blade controlling the turret. Or maybe it's an AI blade that just slaves the turret to the pilot. With the Hammerhead, when this ship is able to do AI turret blades, even if it can't do it for all of its turrets, let's say it can only do it for 3 turrets or 4 turrets, it will severely impact, in a positive way, severely impact the crew count for this ship, and this ship instantly becomes interesting. Lady Space Patrol took the words right out of my mouth took the words out of my mouth with PDCs. Again, once we get the point defense cannons on this thing, which I do think it will receive, I do think when they circle back to Aegis that the Hammerhead will probably receive a few PDCs. I do think other ships, such as the Reclaimer, should receive them as well. With PDCs, this ship becomes more interesting. So if you currently own a Hammerhead or are really interested in one, do not let the negative crew talk that I'm discussing right now necessarily turn you off. I do think it's a temporary thing that makes this ship a bit difficult to recommend, unless you're literally playing with 6 to 8 friends every night and want to fly this a lot. Otherwise, I do predict when this ship either gets AI blade support and that feature comes into the game, or we get uh, uh, PDCs on this thing, I do see this ship becoming a lot more popular than it is now. Remember, that is one of the great things about the Perseus, a ship we know is coming and coming relatively soon. I still think it'll be flight ready for Invictus ILW. The Perseus is so much more attractive to people right now because of its low crew count, right? I think you really only need, until resource management comes on board, you really only need about 3 people in that thing to operate effectively. Once resource management comes out, you're going to need maybe 4, maybe 5 people ultimately. The Hammerhead, though, you're going to need like something like 8 to 10, honestly, once resource management is out, because you're going to need all the turrets manned and people in there repairing. So once those systems come on board, the dialogue around this is going to change a lot. And again, it's why I stress this on a recent stream. Be very careful about pledging for ships for anything other than their broad role, future role. Okay. And this is my personal opinion. You may have a different opinion. Some other content creator you like may have a different opinion too. They're all valid. But my opinion is if you're buying a ship, you should buy it for its broad stroke, high level role. Okay. So for the Perseus, do not buy it because it has 4 size 7 guns on it. Buy it because it's a heavy gunship brawler, right? Because certain things may change on that ship. Okay. I don't think they will, but they will. But component sizes, weapon damage amounts, DPS amounts, hit point amounts, all that stuff on the ship will definitely change. Okay. That goes for all these ships. And the bigger the ship, the more expensive they are, the more you need to consider this. If you're buying a ship based off a numbered stat, you are going to be disappointed, I promise you, because they're going to change it. They're going to change it at some point. Okay. That being said, there is all the Stella Fortuna related ships are available to purchase. So 400i, still a really good runner right now. Small multi-cruise ship. I do still recommend the 400i. It's not necessarily my cup of tea. I did own one for a short period of time, and when I did own it, I thought it was a fantastic ship. I don't own it anymore, but I still recommend this one to people. 600i, great ship, and actually a really good ship for the price still. We do know it's scheduled to get a rework, and when that rework comes, I think this ship is going to be in a really good place. I still love the exterior, and I think obviously CIG agrees the exterior is great. It's just the interior that needs a full rework. We've seen some of that concept work. I know a lot of people are very curious when CIG is going to jump on that internal reconcepting. I think it's going to be a while. It'll be when they circle back to Origin, to be honest with you. And I haven't heard anything through my contacts that Origin is on the cards anytime soon. Doesn't mean it's not happening. Hell, maybe they're working on it right now. I'm not told everything, that's for damn sure. But I would say that I think right now CIG is focusing on MISC, RSI, and Drake. So there you go. But honestly, when they do rework this, I might get interested in one. And that's both for the Explorer and the Touring. I think they are converting these to proper modules. I know chat will correct me if I'm wrong on that. Next one's the A2 Hercules. Most people know that I don't recommend this ship generally. I think it's massively overpriced for what it is. And let me tell you why. It's not necessarily that it's massively overpriced for being a bomber. It's massively overpriced for how bombs work currently. I did a lot of the Fight for Pyro stuff, and I was using ships to attack the outposts first to try to kill all the enemies on the exterior. It does work. However, what I've realized is that splash damage is either non-existent in this game or only applies to certain situations and certain weapons and certain weird edge cases. But what I can tell you as a longtime player of Arma 3 and a lot of other combat games is that this game does not have proper splash damage in it. So the A2 Hercules is a very weird. I wouldn't recommend any bombers until CIG figures out where they want to go with splash damage. I do think the ship this one has splash damage. I'm not saying there's no splash damage. It's just the way it works to me makes bombers really bizarre in terms of how they work. both Ender and myself, because I tried it the other day too, used A1s to bomb outposts with little to no effect on the exterior enemies. Even when bombs are landing 10 feet from them, it didn't kill them. So I think they need to get that figured out before I feel confident in bombing as a game feature. You know what I mean? Right now, I think, but again, all that goes to say that those are numbers. Splash damage is numbers. So I wouldn't buy this ship based off that. If I knew bombing was something I wanted to do in the game, then I would absolutely buy it. But bombing is not, and since the numbers that are in the gameplay is not really effective in terms of how I see it, the bombing is not effective. It seems to be very effective on players, by the way, but not effective on NPCs. I don't know if anyone in chat can chime in on that. But players, it'll kill you in a heartbeat. But NPCs, it's like it doesn't do anything or is all over the place. Sometimes it definitely kills them. Sometimes it doesn't do anything to them. Sometimes it just knocks them down. And I'm talking a size 10 bomb 20 feet from the enemy. They're still up there shooting at you. So again, until CIG works out, I would never buy a ship like this. C2 Hercules, a good ship to buy. It's got a lot of general purpose value to it. Again, VMXEO says it there. Ship guns aren't even effective on NPCs. They're not. I had an Ares Inferno, and I was literally 30 feet from an enemy on the ground, just pointing down at him, blasting him with the damn thing. It probably took 80 rounds to kill the guy because only 3 rounds hit, and none of the other rounds did splash damage. If you've ever watched an A10 Warthog fire its 30 millimeter Gatling gun at a target, there is some serious splash damage from those rounds. There's a kinetic force that explodes when they hit. It damages things. It's bad. We need that in Star Citizen. But yeah, the Hercules solid ship. And then yeah, Duck there on Twitch says it. Several ships received turrets that the pilots can control now. The Hercules is one. The Carrack is another. So the Carrack's top turret, I believe, top remote turret is now pilot controlled. The Valkyrie's wing guns, I think, or chin gun, I can't remember, is now pilot controlled. So that makes those feel a little bit better. Fury, a lot of people love it. I think they're interesting, but I don't own any. But I do know a lot of people love it. The Fury LX, which is the racing variant, and the Fury MX, which is kind of the missile boat version. Obviously, the Aegis Hammerhead, we just went over that. I still think the Hammerhead's a little pricey, but one thing I will say is I do think this gives you a good indication of where the Perseus is going to go when it goes flight ready. So one thing I want to say, for those of you waiting for the Perseus could very well go flight ready in Invictus. I don't know. I don't have any behind the scenes knowledge of this, but just based off some clues I picked up, I think the Perseus could be flight ready at Invictus. Flight ready also comes with a flight ready price increase. So if the Perseus is something you have in buybacks right now and is something that you want to own, you may want to pull it from buybacks while you can at that cheaper price. Just a heads up, because I do think it'll go up, and I think the Perseus is going to go into that 750 range. I think it could be 750. So what's the Perseus right now, chat? Can chat tell me what is the Perseus cost right now if you were to buy it right now? War bond. Bingo says, should I get a Perseus or a Nautilus? Both great ships do very different things. I own a Nautilus just because I'm very excited for mine laying gameplay. The Nautilus, though, I can confirm the execute and I just said execute and Algrid asked Ben Curtis and John Crew if it was in development, and they said nope. And it's not in development because I don't think they're working on any Aegis stuff right now. Okay, Citizen Ninja says 675 credit, 600 war bond. Okay, I can tell you right now, when this thing goes flight ready, I think it's going to match the Hammerhead price. So I think the Perseus is going to go to like 6 or like maybe 725 or so. So again, you want to save some money and you haven't buybacks, you might want to try to grab it. One thing I will say about the Nautilus versus Perseus is the Nautilus does have a higher crew count, bingo, so it's something to keep in mind. I still think the Nautilus is going to be really useful for that future gameplay when we are building things like space stations and stuff like that in the verse, you're absolutely going to want Nautiluses to be constantly laying new minefields in and around your controlled space, reclaiming old mines that were undestroyed, and generally monitoring those Tephra homing mines, if they're tracking or not tracking towards the target. Because while the mines themselves, a lot of people tell me, well, those size five mines aren't going to do anything to the bigger ships. I'm not using a minefield for that. I'm using a minefield as a tripwire. Once I detect one of those mines homing in on a target, I will know that there's enemies in the area or possible enemies in the area, and I've now been alerted. So I look at a minefield as actually a warning net. So yeah. Blood Blimp says, I'm worried that the Perseus is going to increase in size. Blood, I don't think it will. I can't confirm that. But I do know that they showed in that silhouette video that they showed at CitizenCon when they showed the Perseus, Tristpone was able to get the current Perseus in there, and it was an exact match. So still somewhere in that 100 to 105 meter range. It's not to say it won't scale up a little bit, but I think CIG is deliberately trying to keep it somewhere between 100 and 110 meters. It's currently 100 meters concepted, and that does make sense with its crew complement. So Cosmic Sea Turtle says, I thought they said it did increase in size. I haven't heard that, Cosmic. And I follow, obviously, the ship news pretty closely. It doesn't mean I didn't miss it. You still could be right. But I have not heard them say anything that it's increased size to 120 meters. So that'd be a pretty big size increase, too. The ship is currently 100 meters. So that'd be a 20% increase in scale. Generally, ships and remember, the Perseus was developed. That's a newer concept, so it was concepted to scale. I recently, asked Gavin Rothery on the Kraken, and the Kraken's a much older concept. It was concepted in 2018, but I asked him if that was concepted to scale because so many people say, "Oh, the Kraken's going to grow; it's going to get bigger," and he said, "No, the Kraken was built to scale, so it is the scale they want it to be." So I think the Perseus is going to be the same. Yeah, Trist says it there. Trist is in YouTube right now. It says here that he was able to confirm that they likely use the old model in that silhouette video, which makes sense. As the new one was probably in pretty heavy production at that time, and that could mean two things. It could mean the new model is so close to the hollow model that it just made sense to use the hollow model for the silhouette video. But when you put those little people down there and stuff, you can get a good rule of thumb for those. And I don't know. I still think the Perseus is going to be about 100 to 105 meters long, personally. Dayron Bolton says chances of the Kraken after the Pioneer. I actually think the Kraken has a chance of releasing before the Pioneer. I do think the Kraken will go into some form of production after the Ironclads are released. I really do think that. And I think that the Pioneer, I think the earliest we'll see the Pioneer release is end of 2026. And that's me being pretty aggressive on it. I think the Kraken could release around the same time or sometime late next year as well. Depends on when the Ironclad comes out, to be honest with you, to figure it out. I do know, and CIG has said that they do want to get on the Kraken. That much I can tell you. But it's very possible that the Kraken comes out before the Pioneer, even though the Pioneer is already in production. The Pioneer is a very complicated ship as compared to the Kraken. So I think the Pioneer is going to take a while. Other ships again, M2 Hercules, Star Runner. I still think the Star Runner is a great ship. I know a lot of people don't like it because of the one entry point, but they may get back to changing that. But I really do think the Mercury Star Runner is a fantastic ship. For those of you that have never flown it before, it's a great flyer. It's fast. Its stock components are good. I still recommend this one. It's got a great cargo bay too. You can really fit a lot of stuff in there. Mustang Gamma. P-72 Archimedes, Pulse LX, obviously, Razor. These are all the ships gone over in that Stella Fortuna sale, of course. The Redeemer 330, still a decent price for what it is. I do think the Redeemer is another one of those ships. When AI Blades comes along, this ship is really going to have a new conversation surrounding it, and that'll be an interesting one. Vanguard, Harbinger, Hoplite, Sentinel, and Warden, so they're all on sale. Vanguard does need a bit of a gold pass done on it. It's got some things that really need to be reworked. Good point on that is that I just realized that we did not update the Vanguard in Fleet Viewer. We actually have new Starfab exports for the Vanguard that VMXEO did for me. I'm going to work this weekend on getting those prep and conform for Starjump Fleet Viewer, so we'll get those updated, so there'll be nice, pretty new visuals for the Vanguard series and Starjump Fleet Viewer. Cosmic Sea Troll says, if you're looking for a data runner for the future, would you go MSR or Herald? I think I'd still go MSR because I really do like ships that are a bit more general purpose in terms of like what you can do with them. And again, with the MSR having its cargo space in there, habitation, all that stuff, I just think it's a little bit better suited to my needs. However, if data running was going to be a primary gameplay loop, and not only data running, but I do think the Star Runner and the Herald will also be fantastic scanning ships, just in general, scanning ships. So that could play into, for example, future base building and stuff where you're scanning planets to find planets with the best resources that you can utilize. You may send a Herald or an MSR out first, or an Odyssey or a Terrapan, whatever. I do think these ships will have more usage in regards to that, and it really just comes down to, you want something laser focused or something a little bit more general purpose. I always kind of lean towards general purpose because I've just found that my play style, I use ships for multiple things sometimes. So, but again, that's all the ships here. I did want to talk a little bit about what did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk a little bit about the Caterpillar, but you know what? Let's watch this together. Is everyone okay with watching a little bit of Inside Star Citizen? Does everyone feel good about that? It's only 9 minutes long. VMXEO says, side note, I flew a Guardian today in PTU and absolutely loved it. Yeah, they're really cool, actually. They're a lot of fun to fly. I actually like them a lot more than the Furies. That is one ship I do look forward to us being able to update with Starfab in the future, because my versions are okay, but I think the Starfab versions will really shine. Yeah, Wolf, another short one here. We're going to watch it, everyone. Hopefully the volume is good. Let me know if it's too loud. We may pause a little bit here and there.
Ran into some Frontier fighters last week. Bunch of douchebags tried to explain why I was helping the cause. Oh.
That's me.
Okay, sorry. I should read it first.
You're probably wondering what I'm doing here. I mean, besides looking like Dr. Eggman. These suits are not flattering. Anyway, as part of our content-driven initiative this year, we're adding a few more tools to our in-game storytelling, because reading endless data pads is really kind of lame. And because I work cheap and say yes to a lot of things, I'll be playing a new role inside the Persistent universe. This is Dev Diary, Performance Artist.
We all kind of knew Jared would eventually make his way into the verse, right?
This is our performance capture stage. It's a little over 2,000 square feet with more than 50 OptiTrack cameras. We can capture up to 4 faces and 8 performers all at the same time, doing just about anything the human body can achieve. From dramatic moments like this,
Copy that. Tally's on me.
Do it.
to even the most action-filled.
Not on my ship.
I've entered the station.
It's one of the biggest, quietest, and most technologically advanced performance capture stages of its kind in all of Europe.
It's really cool, everyone. one of the most advanced ones in the US is definitely Rockstar's Motion Capture Studios. Me and my wife are friends with one of the guys that runs that. But a lot of gaming studios have really high-end motion capture studios simply because they use it so much in games. Obviously, it's used in the film industry pretty heavily as well. But yeah, really cool.
Bad luck, Dad. Not to worry, though.
And it's located right across the way from our Manchester office in the old Granada Studios. That famous facility where the Beatles had their very first televised performance way back in the day. Okay, not this room, but the one next to it. It's close. In addition to the big fancy stage, there are backstage areas as well, including our face scanning room where performers are tortured for about an hour into contorting their faces into every shape you could imagine, and a few you wish you hadn't. The cast green room, where you can sit and be intimidated by some of the incredible talent that we've had over the years, as well as a number of dressing rooms normally reserved for talent. But on this day, this one is being held for me, the person that walked in front of CR and Dave Haddock at just the right moment 3 weeks ago. My room has pictures of the main man, Mark Hamill, who should need no introduction to anyone watching year 12 of this show. On this day, my call was after lunch, which usually means they wanted to get the important stuff out of the way first and expect me to waste a bunch of their time because I don't really know what I'm doing. Here, I check in with everyone. I'm going to try really hard not to disappoint for the rest of the afternoon. Folks like CJ, Katie, Natalie, and Juan of the mocap crew, they're responsible for tracking the body and telling me I move like an angel. Vasilios and Scott on the facial crew, and the reason that I've had to shave recently. Justin and Aaron from audio, who provide encouragement when my voice becomes just a bit too nasally. The producers, John and Eleanor, who make certain everything gets done. And the director, Dave Haddock. You know, I made this guy a star with Lore Makers back in the day, and now he big times me and will spend most of today telling me to tune things down because, well, I'm a chronic overactor.
Those of you who will recognize Dave Haddock, obviously he's been in a lot of Star Citizen Live and ISCs over the years, generally talking about Star Citizen story. One of the things he talked about quite a bit, I think, was, unless I'm completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was the one that talked about the Star Citizen 1.0 narrative story that we are going to get, in the future.
Now with the call time met, it's time to start getting ready. And that begins by going to the markering room and getting fitted for a helmet. You know, I'll take the XXL melon noggin, please.
I think the sides are fine. We'll put medium there. How does it feel on the top?
Then it's off to the dressing room to squeeze myself into what Jonathan Booth, the man behind Jax McCleary himself, referred to as essentially
large black condom.
Yeah, I really let this go to air. Let's go get yelled at by Natalie. Next, it's back to the markering room where they tell you that you've dressed yourself poorly. Fix all of your mistakes, then attach all the tracking dots to various positions. Testing to ensure they won't move or fall off with the various movements I'll have to do in just a few minutes.
And you can relax. And that is your markered.
Fully markered, we now return to the stage where it's time to fit and adjust our helmet and camera setup. Here, they're discussing the fact that I broke my neck over 25 years ago, and it's left me with a tendency to bob and nod unnecessarily when talking. So we're gonna have to tighten this thing to insane levels to keep the expensive camera from flying all over the place. Now, it's time to do the range of motion checks, in which I get to demonstrate my utter lack of flexibility and complete inability to tell my left from my right in front of everyone to see. It's an important step in humbling the chosen performer before they get to all that acting stuff in just a few minutes. I would later learn that it's also necessary for technical calibration or whatever. They tried to explain it to me, but in this moment, I was completely convinced that this was a shame-based hazing ritual and plotting my revenge on everyone in attendance. Finally, it's time to get a bunch of dots put on my face. which I'm absolutely certain in this moment I will forget to wash off my face before returning to my desk later today. Now that I've been fully prepped for work, it's time to set up the scene. In today's shoot, I'll be playing an SSN newsflash anchor named James Harriman.
This is James Harriman with an SSN newsflash.
The brief I was given is that 900 years in the future, these are low attention span vignettes of under a minute that are hosted by a news pro that does not get excitable or include his personal opinions in his reading of the facts. Basically, short and with as little of himself as possible. I have no idea why they came to me for this, and it's possible I'm being punked right now. But I'm gonna try really hard not to let anyone down.
Shocking news out of the Stanton system with the recent attacks by Frontier fighters on the Invictus celebrations.
And in addition to news about the ongoing threat of the Frontier fighters, I'm also doing reports about a new threat to all human life in the verse that begins to rear its head in the upcoming Alpha 4.1 with the start of this year's B story, concerning a suspected failure of regen technologies, which we'll learn more about in just a couple of weeks.
The UEE Senate has put out a call for resources to help fund the scientific research needed to overcome the regen crisis.
And while I'm here, they've also asked me to do some
need some
minor
emojis.
mocap-only business for a Squadron 42 newscaster, shuffling some data pads around with my hands. That's Adam. Adam is here asking me if I've ever used my hands to move things before. Not really, Adam. I'm very, very good at all of this. Then lastly, I'm doing a few more pickups for random
Surge the
NPCs
voice,
you'll
thank you
find in
very
the Scansion
much.
and Pyro systems
Appreciate
related
it.
to these ongoing narratives.
Give you the
Are
old
you
double
sure
salute.
I can't do an imprint today? I have a really important memory I just made and I don't want to lose it.
Would you believe I used to be the darling of the community theater scene?
Getting a little tired of these Frontier fighters. I would have been on their side if they didn't go and start attacking innocent people to prove their point. Now, they're just another bunch of assholes.
Ultimately, these newscasts and NPC encounters are just some of the ways we're working to improve the storytelling of our persistent universe, including a real actor bringing another brand new character to the verse. But you'll meet him and his species soon enough.
And all of this is just one small aspect of the work being done to improve our sense of character and narrative storytelling in the persistent universe. And like the ongoing bug fixes, stability improvements, and overall quality of life changes being made by our fantastic programmers and engineers right now, these updates will roll out in releases throughout the remainder of this year. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here in 2 weeks with a look at the upcoming Alpha 4.1.
So obviously we oops, there we go. So obviously we have heard, I'm sorry, I'm getting that sunlight blasting in here, but obviously we've heard about what this character is already, and this was the thumbnail in today's thumbnail for this stream, which is that let me get it up. If you weren't aware of course, I'm talking about Weekalo, and the Weekalo, is it Weekalo? Am I saying that right? The Weekalo NPC now at Weekalo's Emporium. We're going to be doing missions for him. He is a Banu. You can see his hologram in the hangar right up there. Pretty cool. Weekalo will be doing collecting missions for him. It does look like there's some tie-ins to Valakar, the Sandworm, too. So maybe that will come in as an event. We've heard that the new event coming with 4.1, which involves the Hathor stations, which is essentially theaters of war, but being brought in as an event, which includes both a ground base and an orbital mining laser platform up in orbit. The event that goes along there, it does look like there are, I've heard there's an end boss that goes along with that. I haven't seen how that plays out yet. I'm not sure if anyone else has, but that event is supposedly going to have a sandworm boss battle in it. We'll have to see. Sounds really interesting. If it does, then man, CIG is really going all out here on the events, and kudos to them. Sounds really cool. But we're going to be able to take some of those parts and pieces and some of those things that we harvest from the sandworm if we kill him back to Weekalo, for some really great rewards. There's been ships apparently that he's going to be able to give us as rewards, customized ships. For example, I think the highest tier was even a customized Polaris. I know a Scorpius is another one, etc. What I will say about that, though, my only concern about that is the same concern I had back when they were doing the Take Over the Idris event. Remember that, where an org had to take over an Idris, but then the person in the pilot seat was the one that got the F8C whatever golden ticket, whatever. The issue with some of these events is they take a group of people to do, but then only one person can get the reward, or so I really hope they've learned from that and that this is different, meaning if you are part of taking the sandworm down, even if you don't harvest the pearl or whatever off the sandworm, you should still be able to get something really good. CIG's got to get better at sharing the reward structure. I think they will. Again, I think all these events are good because they're sort of teaching the mission makers how to build missions that really work for this PU. So that's my biggest concern with these events right now. You can see another image here of Weekalo, the Banu trader. That we'll be interacting with. I believe the station, it's an asteroid station that he's on, and I believe it's a new location outside of Microtech, like in Microtech's orbit. So that's where you will encounter that. So good to know. Here is the station right here. You can see we're seeing some Banu architecture and stuff like that. So pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I have not checked it out in 4.1 yet. I'm kind of saving this one for live because I am really excited that they're bringing Banu elements at all into the game. I think that's really great. So stay tuned for that. The last thing I want to look at here was Law of the West put out a video that showed some interesting stuff here. It's only about 7 minutes long. And obviously, I'm going to put the link in chat. This is Law of the West, by the way. He did a video looking at the Caterpillar and sort of testing its new door functionality in terms of how you can load cargo in it. And I'll move ahead here. He goes through the basic functionality, but then he starts to test certain things, like he puts vehicles and stuff on the lift. We talked about the other day how the Caterpillar is a little bit flawed because the door only has 2 states. This is in the notes for it. FN80 says Weekalo has places in 3 different locations, I think. Oh, great. Awesome. That's very cool. I didn't know that. But anyways, going back to this video, you can see Law of the West here. Testing some of this, but showing how because it only has 2 states, or and one of those states is all the way down or folded up, it creates a problem for vehicles. You can see that here. We really need to get that 3rd state in there. Hopefully CIG does address this sooner rather than later. I do think they're working on the Caterpillar a little bit because they're deep in development on the Ironclad. So it does need that raised open state, which is the original one we had. We need both. I know CIG was like, well, we'll make it go all the way to the ground, but what they forgot here is that we actually need both, not just for it to go all the way to the ground. One of the other things he tests is 16 and 24 SCU boxes. So this was again interesting. The 16 SCU box does fit in there, and then he tries the 24 SCU box. Again, the problem here is that it fits like so perfectly, and there's no actual cargo grid for it yet, so the box doesn't lock into place there, again creating an issue. So you'll see here, because it's such a fine threshold there of its ability to fit, it starts banging around a lot, creating issues. Again, I think this is something CIG needs to address sooner rather than later on a number of ships, especially the Caterpillar. The Caterpillar is supposed to be a premier cargo carrier. We should be able to get the stuff on here. But then obviously you're going to find here when he does move it up, he'll do that here in just a second. They also need to fix where you interact with the doors. But when this moves up, you'll see, again, we don't have a cargo grid, so it's not locking into place, so it's obviously bouncing all around. And then it kind of can't. There we go. There we go. So I wanted to talk about this for a minute because, again, while I think the Caterpillar is going to be a really strong ship, seeing some of this in action now really illuminates some stuff that needs to be fixed on this ship. And actually, for the first time ever, I'll say this. Most ships, when they get a second pass, usually stay exactly the same. The scale and all that doesn't change. However, I would really stress to CIG, if there are any CIG ship team members watching or lurking, I would really suggest that each one of those modular compartments of the Caterpillar gets lengthened by 1 meter. So I think there's 4 compartments. So overall, it would be a 4-meter stretch of the Caterpillar, but essentially it would just be taking those modular sections and stretching them out a little bit or lengthening them by about 1 to 2 meters apiece. That would give you enough clearance for the 24 SCU boxes. Obviously, that's a lot of work, but if you're going to go back and majorly rework this ship, I do think it needs that. It's just too tight in there right now. There's just no room for error, and now that CIG has seen where these cargo boxes have landed, I think we have a good idea of where things need to go with this ship to better fit that stuff. So that being said, I think that needs to happen. They need to get the cargo grids on the actual door panels. I do think that's supposed to happen, if I'm not mistaken. They also need to get the 2 states of the door in. Some people have asked me if I think this is coming with you know, when the Ironclad comes out, will we get these changes added to the Caterpillar? I'm not sure, but I do really think it would be a good idea for them to get these changes in for when the Ironclad releases, because I think I could see them selling like an Ironclad Caterpillar pack and stuff like that. And the Caterpillar does need a lot of work. Again, I do think this is going to be an awesome ship when everything works on it and it gets its gold standard pass. Another thing people had asked, well, what was this? I think Execute asked me this the other day. Let me open up 3D here. We'll click over to 3D in just a second, everyone. Let me open something here. I did have Execute ask yesterday if the command module on the Caterpillar had landing gears. And I thought this was interesting. I think he asked John Crew. Actually, no, that's what it was. He asked John Crew this and Ben Curtis and asked if the Caterpillar had landing gears. And I thought, you know what? That would be something easy to check because I'm actually not sure. So I thought we would take a look at that now. I'm going to open up the Caterpillar here. This is the game model. I'll change a few things here. Bear with me. Okay. It's pretty rough right now, does not have textures on it. Okay, so what I wanted to do though was check the command module. I know, here's the command module right here. And I concluded that it did, and here's where I see the landing gears being on here, although they're not in this model. The first one is right here. We obviously have a door of some sort right here. You can see the indentation here of the door. I think we have a landing gear tucked under there. And then these back here are the same. You see these 2 areas right here? I think these are doors as well for side landing gears. So essentially you'll have 2 landing gears come out the side here and then 1 right here, and it will be able to land. These back housing pieces here are pretty similar to the Herald and the Cutlass. The Cutlass has the same sort of deal. So for those of you wondering, I ultimately do think that the command module will be able to land. I think the interiors are separate from the exteriors here. Yeah, they are. So here's the exterior. So ignoring this interior stuff here, I think the ship will be able to disconnect and fly around like you see here. Okay, your ship has a door right here that will seal off. So when you're flying the ship, here's how it will be. I do think there's a piece here that's missing that we'll be able to animate in and complete this section, or maybe not. Either way, that's what your command module is going to look like. Some people have also asked me if the command module for the caterpillar is the same one as the ironclad. Unless they're changing the one for the caterpillar, I can confirm that they're not the same. The one on the ironclad is longer, and the reason it's longer is it has space for the additional crew that the ironclad has. So over the caterpillar, so there's more like seating in the ironclad's command module to support that. So something I wanted to look at. Okay, everyone, that was it for today. I will probably be on tonight and stream a little bit of Star Citizen. My last Let's Play stream went really well, and people seemed to enjoy that. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll do another one of those. So I think I might do that tonight. I'll probably be playing with Ender. So if you're interested in watching that, please do. I'm going to send you over to a friend of the channel right now. Please stay on and give him a little bit of love. For those of you that have not followed the Twitch channel, please give that follow channel. I really, really appreciate it. If you're over on YouTube, please give the YouTube a subscribe hit and a thumbs up. Again, that goes a long way. A long, long way. We'll have more news on St. Jude and our giveaway raffles for that. More news on Quantum coming up very soon as well. We will have a Starjump Station episode tomorrow night on Capital Ships Revisited. Okay, you don't want to miss that one, and I will be doing a giveaway on that episode too for a starter pack and a poster, if I'm not mistaken. So you want to catch that. It'll be right here on this channel. Sending you over to Seg. Please give him a little bit of that Starjump love. Give him the old salute and all that. And as Ender always says, do something kind for a stranger or smack a stranger. No, I mean, Ender doesn't say that, but he should.
No, I never say that. Be a good motherfucker, I say every once in a while, though.
Exactly. Everyone, have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you later. Going to send you over now. Again, do not forget to follow all the Starjump platforms, please. You can find those below, including Ender's channel here. Please follow the Twitter as well. It's a very important follow because that's where you get all the Starjump updates, such as Fleet Viewer updates and other stuff. All right, everyone, have a good time. Please give Seg some love. Talk to you later.